Hey folks, David Stewart here. Let's talk about something fun. Coins, money, silver specifically, which, given how 2021 has started, you may be looking at collecting precious metals. The problem with collecting gold is that it's very, very valuable. It's very expensive. Last I checked, gold was trading for like $1,800 an ounce, and an ounce is a very small amount of gold, which means you got to have a lot of cash on hand of your local currency in order to just buy one gold coin and hold on to it. Whereas silver's a lot cheaper. Silver's like $25 to $30 an ounce usually. Sometimes more than that depending on, how speculators feel about the economy and things like that. But because it's so much cheaper, you can buy more of it, and you can buy it even if you just have, $100 worth of your local currency on hand. And not only that, but in an emergency or in any kind of situation where you want to get rid of your silver, it's very easy to barter it away. People understand the value of silver. Silver has been the coin of the realm, the coin of the people, for thousands and thousands of years. The Roman denarius, which is about equivalent to a quarter in terms of its size, it's a little bit lighter. It might actually really be more like a nickel. That was the standard trading currency in the empire and was very, very used and very, very easy to understand the value of it when it was stamped by the Roman Empire, because people understood the value of the silver that was in it. So likewise, in some kind of situation where people can't get money out of the bank, or your local currency has been completely debased, or you have hyperinflation like Venezuela, or like numerous other countries like the Weimar Republic, it's good to have silver on hand, because that silver you can barter for the same amount pretty much day after day. In fact, maybe even more, because people will be seeking dear money instead of the cheap money that is the fiat currency of the government. So in any event, I'm not advocating that you can view weight of silver as money. In the United States, that is actually a legal territory that could get you into trouble, is trying to make your own silver money. People have actually been prosecuted for it and gone to jail, but you can collect silver as a coin collector, and it's very easy to barter, that is to trade with other people based on its weight. So I have a couple of coins. This is a Walking Liberty dollar that is probably pretty popular. We have older American silver dollars, like this is all U.S. currency, and I could show you some currency from other countries and other periods as well. But any U.S. currency, any U.S. coin that has this color, the silver color, minted before 1964 and before is going to have a high enough silver content you can view it as silver. So this is a quarter from 1950, and it has a high enough silver content that you can basically view it as a silver quarter. And if you compare it to a modern quarter, you can immediately tell the difference in the metal. Silver is white. It has an almost greasy feel when you touch it, because of the tarnish that occurs with silver. Now, this silver is mixed with a couple of other metals to increase its durability for use in as currency, as traded money. But the modern clad coin, which is basically, and you can always tell this when you pick one up, it's basically copper and zinc just stamped over with some like chromium and stuff. This is basically worthless in terms of the metal that's in it, and it's only valuable because of fiat, because the government says it's valuable. Whereas this has silver in it, and everybody's going to universally understand that the silver content in the coin is valuable. At the very worst that could happen in some kind of situation, you can melt it down and make other things out of silver out of it. In fact, this was kind of a problem with the bimetal standard throughout U.S. history, is whenever the price of silver changed relative to gold, people would either turn in their silver for silver dollars, which were able to be worth more because they traded for $1. If price of silver fell below $1 an ounce, and if it went above it, you would melt your silver dollars down into silver bars and bullion and sell them for gold, because then you got more value out of the silver. So that's the problem with bimetallism. But bimetallism's been the basic trading reality throughout most of history. Gold for really big transactions with one set value, and silver for smaller transactions with its set value. So silver's a great thing to hold on to. Since I was a little kid and figured out that coins 1964 and before were made of silver, I've been pocketing them, and as a result, I've collected a bunch. And so I had my father actually. So any of these Franklin half dollars are going to be worth money. I used to get these as change infrequently, and I'd get it and just pocket it, because it's silver. To put it in, just to point out that it's going to look a little bit different if it's uncirculated. Here's let's put those out of the way. Here's an uncirculated silver $50, and here's a circulated silver $50. And as I put each under a little bit more focus of the light, you can see silver is an extremely lustrous metal. When you get used to seeing silver, you'll know right away that you're dealing with silver. It's very, very shiny when it doesn't have any tarnish or anything with it. In fact, if we were to look at something like this, which is a silver dollar, a modern silver dollar, here I have one here that's basically encased in plastic. So here it is. When you have one with no tarnish, just look how bright that silver is. That's why we use silver backing for the backing of mirrors, because wow, it is extremely bright, extremely lustrous, extremely reflective. It's a great metal in that regard. So you'll be able to tell the difference between silver and other metals once you get your hands on some. And because this is a $50, it's roughly equivalent to about half an ounce. So as we weigh some of these, you get the idea that the equivalencies, the size of the coins was originally based on roughly the weight of silver. If we get, let's see here, I have an older silver dollar here. You'll see that it weighs close to an ounce. It weighs about 0.95 of an ounce. All right, so we just kind of round it up. It's about an ounce. It's an ounce of silver, $1, 1 ounce of silver. Bam, for that silver dollar. Silver dollars, by the way, were not very popular except in the West, in the United States, in the old days. For whatever reason, people really liked silver dollars out here and were like their paper money back east. If we were to look at our $50 again, put that on the scale, well, that's pretty darn close to a half an ounce. So you have a really easy fungibility here. 1 ounce, half an ounce in this old money. Really easy to figure out the value of things. Likewise, we put a quarter on there. Well, it's pretty close to a 1/4 ounce. Once we start getting less than that, this little food scale is not going to measure. You start to have to get something like a powder scale in order to measure it in grains to get the very precise amount that's there. So that's, by the way, roughly equivalent to about a denarius. So if you remember the parable of the denarius, where various workers were coming out in the field and working for a denarius, they were working all day for less than that, because I think a Roman denarius around the time of Christ was only about 4 grams of silver. But it was silver, and people understood the value of it kind of instinctively. They knew what they were getting with their 4 grams of silver. So you could think 1/4 ounce, half ounce, 1 ounce. Pretty easy divisions there when you grab some of this old money. Likewise, old $50 are really easy to get because coin collectors are not looking to get them for their collectability. Even though this is an uncirculated coin and therefore is more collectible, they're not getting them for their collectability. There's millions of them out there. It's really more for the silver content that's in them. So you don't have to pay a big premium in order to grab your silver coins. Newer coins like these made by the U.S. Mint, which by the way is not an ounce but a troy ounce. Notice 1.13. That's 1/15 of a pound rather than 1/16 of a pound. These are often collected by collectors a little bit higher than their silver value, but you can get them roughly for the price of the actual silver that's in the coin. So these are really good too. This is a troy ounce. So you need to know the difference. Troy ounce, regular ounce if you're going to the old silver dollars. And these are not terribly hard to collect, by the way. A half ounce and about a 1/4 ounce. So it's really easy to think of that stuff there. Here's an old German coin, again about an ounce. This is from the 1910s. I think this is actually an Austrian coin, but it's from the 1910s. And again, gets close to about an ounce. So we can see here's the same thing. Here's a Mexican silver peso. This is from 1959. So Mexican currency prior to about 1960 likewise was made with a high silver content. You can see that it's roughly half an ounce again. So these values were pretty common. And so once you get used to trading silver with people, you can figure out about the value of silver, a silver coin, pretty quickly based on its weight. Again, it's the coin of the people. People are able to immediately recognize the value of it, and it's really easy to figure out how much silver is in something and whether something is actually silver. You'll know it by the weight, especially when you have like a 1 ounce coin. You can feel the weight of the silver correctly. The feel of silver in the hands, it's almost slightly greasy when it's tarnished. And of course, it has a very white color, quite different than the chrome-plated modern garbage. You can tell the color difference right away once you get used to seeing it. This kind of plated garbage versus real bright white silver. And it can be very lustrous when it is highly polished and not tarnished. This is a little silver dollar to commemorate the Los Angeles Olympic Games from 1983. How cool is that? Kind of a fun little collector's coin. This would be worth more probably than just your ounce of silver. It would actually be worth some amount of collectible value because of how nice it is. So anyway, hopefully that's fun, and it gives you a little bit of an idea what's going on there. Here's a Liberty half dollar, walking Liberty half dollar, very old, but getting close to a half an ounce, which is what they based the walking Liberty silver dollar on. So grab that, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, one more comparison. This one's in plastic, so I'm not going to take it out of that. But you have a couple of different versions of the Liberty head. And what's also interesting, I guess, before I go, is when I start looking at coins and collecting them, I noticed that prior to the 20th century, we had a lot more stuff like representations of Liberty on coins as a goddess, a mythological representation rather than a president or a founding father on the coins. So at some point, our founding fathers moved from the historical space into a mythological, legendary kind of space, and that's when they started to get put on coins. And we really haven't had a new president put on the coin since Kennedy in 1964. How weird is that? So only a couple years after his death, he was put on the half dollar. He's the last president, I think, to get put on a coin. We haven't changed who's on a coin since then. And we had the Sacagawea dollar, again, not a president, and you had the Susan B. Anthony dollar, not a president. So the last president that we've put on a coin, I believe, is John F. Kennedy. No, that's actually not true. Eisenhower in the 70s. Forget what I said. Eisenhower was the last one. So we haven't had one since Eisenhower was put on the a bigger clad dollar in the 1970s that was meant to replace, actual real money. So we have Eisenhower on the funny money. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Do I have anything else here that's cool? Oh, here it is. Give you an idea of how little copper is worth. This is a Song Dynasty coin. So this is a Chinese coin from about 1,000 years ago. Oh boy, I bet it's worth so much. About 1/10 of an ounce maybe of copper. $6. There was a lot of pennies. You can get Roman pennies for a couple bucks a piece. Okay, copper is not worth silver coins. Now, if you get a Roman denarius, you're going to probably pay quite a bit of a premium just because it was the preferred coin, and a lot of them got melted down to make other coins and other bullion. Copper, it wasn't even worth reminting it. It's just a little piece of change, a little piece of copper, So Song Dynasty coin, that's a fun one too. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.